language creates a rhythm, and rhythm is part of music. And so language and music come together like this. Okay? And if you're reinforcing language, you're reinforcing learning, because so much of learning is connected to language development. We know that from research too. So if music is going to reinforce learning, why would you not have time to teach it? Isn't it important that we do anything we can to reinforce learning for all students? And there are some students that you will only reach through music. Case in point. Some of you have heard the story of my son Todd, who after textbook perfect pregnancy was born with a blood infection. And so it was like the pregnancy that was perfect and the delivery from hell. And he was born with a blood infection, and he's severely mentally retarded. In fact, he has no measurable IQ because he only has 25% of a brain. And so we were told that he would never walk, talk, sit up, feed himself, say mama, roll over, any of the normal things that kids do. And that he would only have 3 months development over a lifetime, 3 months mental development. And so we were really concerned about if he'd be able to learn anything ever. And he entered an early intervention program for infants and toddlers. And it was a program that was like a preschool program. It was full inclusion, so there was a whole group of kids who were normal, whatever that is. And then there were a whole group of kids who had learning issues, and a lot of them had severe cognitive delays like Todd, and physical delays. And Todd is classified spastic quadriplegic with severe cognitive delays, multiply handicapped, visually impaired. I mean, he's got a whole list of labels. And so we went into this program, and here's this kid who basically hasn't learned anything yet, and he's 6 months old. And they started working with him, and they had singing time every day. And so because the normal kids went into singing, so did all the handicapped kids. And they would all haul into the classroom, and they'd have their singing time. And they learned fairly quickly that Todd absolutely hated the Happy Birthday song. And the reason he hated the Happy Birthday song was because after the Happy Birthday song, everybody clapped and cheered, and Todd hated loud noises. So what they discovered was the minute anybody started to sing Happy Birthday, the minute he heard Happy Birthday, he burst into tears. He recognized that song and recognized that at the end of that song there was going to be clapping and cheering, and he let everybody know really quickly that he hated that song. On the other hand, he loved Old MacDonald Had a Farm. He loved the E-I-E-I-O, and he would laugh hysterically when they got to E-I-E-I-O. And so they started to realize that he was understanding different songs and that different songs had different meaning to him. And then one day they were singing Itsy Bitsy Spider. Itsy Bitsy Spider climbed up the water spout, down came the rain. Now think about the muscle movements that you have to do for that. In fact, without singing, let's do that song, and I'll do the words, okay? Itsy Bitsy Spider climbed up the water spout, down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Itsy Bitsy Spider came up the spout again. And they were sitting there, an aide had Todd in her lap, propped against her chest, and realized that he was putting his hands together and going like this. Ever so slightly, he was trying to make the hand movements. And she thought she was imagining things. And then when they got to Out Came the Sun, his shoulders went up like this. As everybody else was raising their arms, Todd's shoulders went up. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. His shoulders dropped again. And the Itsy Bitsy Spider and his hands started to move. And she kept that to herself for a few days, and then like on the 4th or 5th day, she couldn't stand it anymore. And she called the occupational therapist over and said, come and look at this. I think I'm seeing something. And the occupational therapist went over, and sure as heck, there was Todd, no brain practically, trying to do the actions for Itsy Bitsy Spider. Now, that means a lot to me as an educator, because I know that if he understands, if he comprehends enough to be able to remember that certain actions happen with certain lines that he hears, and if he's able to remember what those actions are that match with those specific words, he's got an ability to learn, okay? Because people don't just learn language for nothing. Language, people can learn language. All sorts of other learning connects in with the learning of language. And it's a basis for all learning. Language and pattern recognition are huge parts of the ability to learn. And so he not only understood the words of the song enough to know what actions to put in, but he was able to anticipate where those actions would go and was getting the pattern recognition of the parts of the song and the pattern recognition of which songs he hated and which songs he loved from the very beginning. So the minute we knew he had language, then we knew to look for language. And it wasn't long after that, and his teacher, Frem, was working with him, trying to get him to do some stuff. He was sitting in a high chair, and she was trying to get him to do some, I don't know, matching or something in his high chair. And she realized she didn't have her glasses on. And so suddenly she was listening, she was talking to herself, and she was saying, Todd, I can't find my glasses. I can't believe this. Where did I put my glasses? You know, she's kind of a flake like me. And I wonder if I left them on my desk. Todd, have you seen my glasses? And she just kept talking and talking. And he was laughing hysterically. And in his own spastic way, he kept going like this. And she thought he was being spastic. But he wasn't. When she finally realized he was trying to communicate, where were they? They were on top of her head. And she said, Todd, are you telling me my glasses are on my head? And she reached up and she got him, and he busted up laughing. And that's exactly what he was trying to communicate, is that her glasses were on her head. He had language. He was able to understand what she was looking for, determine where they were, so he was doing some problem solving. Okay? She wouldn't have known to look for the language if she hadn't found the language in music first. Okay? She found that language in music with Todd being able to do all the muscle stuff. So when he was going like this, it finally dawned on her, hey, 2 weeks ago he got muscle memory in music. Maybe this means something. And so it did. It meant your glasses are on your head, Dumbo. Okay? Language and music are connected like this. And if I ask for content connections with music, a lot of times people go straight to math. Yeah, there's quarter notes in music, and math's like fractions, and we have quarter pizzas in math and all that. But the real connection in content is music and language. That's the real connection. Okay? Music, language, reading, they all come together. You'll see some of that as we do our activities today.